All right.
Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML, a year of magical learning. Today we're on book 80, and today we are going to talk about the power of purpose. I'll let Chris take it over.
Yeah. So this book was an interesting one. I don't know. Are you guys like history buffs at all? Like, you guys like reading about history, learning about history in general? Is that something you guys care about?
Depends on what it is. So a little bit. I mean,
Find it interesting, but I can't say I do a lot of like pursuing knowledge. I like hearing about it, but
Yeah. I,
I
I
don't
don't know
like
why.
history for history's sake. I like history for the lesson it teaches.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know why, man. I could put it on like the History Channel and just like let it play like Sports Center or something like that, almost just on a loop, and just watch like World War II show documentaries or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of fascinating to me for some weird
there's
reason.
some podcasts. Some guy does these podcasts that are like they're like an hour, 2 hours. They're really long podcasts that like he gets really in depth about certain like historical events. You know what I'm talking about? These
No,
I gotta figure out the name. I gotta send it to you.
yeah, I'm sure I'll be interested. So yeah, but today's book and reflection are along those lines. It's a book called 1776 by the author David McCullough. This is about 1776, the Revolutionary
American
War,
independence.
American independence, and it was the story of Washington and his troops and battles that he fought in, and all the little subtle nuances that went on here and there amongst the ranks of the Americans as they tried to fight the British, and all the challenges they had to overcome, and stuff like that. So it was a really well written book. Like it was just kind of captivating, and it kind of sucked you in, and it was really really interesting of a book. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was really really cool. But the reflection that this book generated for me was the title up here, which is "Purpose Always Prevails." And I started off this reflection by talking about, like, if I've learned anything over the past couple of years, it's that whole concept from like a man's search for meaning. He who has a why can overcome any how. And the story of the Revolutionary War, I feel like is no different. I didn't really understand. I don't know about you guys when like growing up, like and I know, true, I know you grew up in another country, I guess, but for like Blake and I as little kids growing up, it felt like guys like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and those heroes of the Revolutionary War, and like Paul Revere, and all these guys you hear about were like these almost like mythological characters. That it was like these guys that just played this really awesome role in this underdog story of the U.S. beating the British, and like we were just the big underdog, like, and somehow we pulled it off with like everything, with all the things, against us, and no hope really, and we should have got our ass wiped off the face of the earth, like, and somehow we prevailed,
Like
through all these.
superheroes almost.
What's that?
Like superheroes almost.
Yeah, like almost like superheroes, right? So like when I was a kid, like it was like a fun story, but like I didn't really get it, and I still honestly didn't get it until this whole journey started with from Amelia to where we are to today, of how the Americans beat the British, and as I was reading the story, and as I've been reflecting more and more through this whole entire journey, it was the concept of the purpose always prevails. Like the United States, the colonies, the revolutionary, the citizens that were over here, they were fighting for what they were fighting for. They were fighting for a purpose. They believed in the core values that were founded on this country. That was a part of them. They cared. Like they cared deeply about this stuff. And when you care deeply about things, you find a way. On the other side of the equation, there was the British, who they were, they didn't care. Like they were just doing a job. They were getting paid. They were there to collect their king's taxes. They didn't give a shit. Like, I mean, they were just, yeah, they may have had more might and more power and more force and more money and whatever, everything more, but what they didn't have was a purpose. So and as I like listened to the story unfold, and as I was reflecting on my own journey, and understanding these things, like it just was so apparent, like when you have a purpose, like you hear this time and time again with like the Jews fleeing from Egypt, right? How did they survive? They had a purpose. Or apartheid in South Africa, or World War II, with the Allies beating back the Nazis. In that case, there was two purposes, I would say. But I think God chose the right purpose in that one, but that was probably why it was such an epic battle as well. Yeah, I mean, it was just the general, the overall idea that, you know, if you really want to change the world, you know, find your purpose and unite a tribe around you, and kind of watch out, you know. That was what I felt like when I read this book. I don't know. I'll turn it over to you guys. What are your thoughts?
So I have a question though. I mean, to kind of be more on a practical level, what happened when both sides has purpose?
Great question. Then I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, then you're locked in you know, in an infinity war, I guess, you know, of maybe like, you know, Christians and Muslims, or like, I don't know. I mean, you know, it's good. What do you think? I don't know.
I mean, I think. Go ahead, Blake.
Are you talking about in terms of like war?
No,
Just anything,
anything with a purpose, right? You have a purpose, and you go against something that also have a purpose. And for me, like I said, you know, it's like how do you know how to overcome the other purpose?
Why does there have to be conflict in two different purposes?
I mean, in for example, in a war, you have a purpose. The German has a purpose, and the Jews and the ally has another purpose, which is conflicting. I mean, it doesn't have to always be conflicting, but sometimes they will.
Well, so hang on. My first initial thought would be this: what you shouldn't do. Like, my mind immediately went to like Christians and Muslims. Like, they both have a purpose, and they both have a good purpose, and at their core, right? And for perpetuity, they've been fighting over whatever they've been fighting over, right? You know, for forever. Like, wouldn't it be better to just figure out where your purposes overlapped and work together? Like, it would be my sentiment. If you have two competing purposes, is like, find where the overlap is and help each other.
That's the ideal situation,
right?
But it's not always going to be that, like that.
Right. I mean, I was thinking, like, you know, you can have a war and you can lose a war, and your purpose can still be there. Maybe you have to adapt on how you live out your purpose. Maybe you have to live it out in a different way in hiding. But I mean, loss doesn't mean necessarily your purpose is gone. If that makes sense.
Well, the thing is, for me, like, the reason why I'm asking that question is that for me, purpose means power, and power depends on. For me, if you have a purpose, you're going to give it your maximum. Just like you say, you know, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, you know, all these guys are superheroes because they have power, because of a purpose. They have a purpose, and that gives them power. But the power goes to a certain limit. For example, Patrick Henry said, you know, give me liberty or give me death, because he's saying, well, I'm willing to give the maximum power that I possess as a person, because once it maxes out, that means that's death for me. Right? By the time death is, so it gives you that extra boost of power, can maximize whatever you have. I mean, but to me, you know, if you have a lesser capacity, then you're not gonna win, just because you're not gonna get your purpose. You're not gonna I guess prevail because you have a purpose, right? Because at the end of the day, because for me, it's like, if you, because for me, I think I do. I really understand what freedom meant when I didn't have it in my own country. That's why, like we talked about before, you know, jumping out of a frying pan, right, into the unknown. Why people immigrate? You immigrate because you are oppressed by your freedom, and you jump over here. And over here, you understand the value of freedom. For me, now that I have freedom, right, there is nothing you can do to take that away from me, unless you basically end my life, because I will give it my all. And to me, that's a purpose. So purpose is giving you the extra boost to maximize all of your energy reserve to do whatever it is to make that single focus happen.
Right.
Right.
Agreed.
And
yep.
and with the Americans, uh they have a purpose. They were trying to escape from the oppression, from the British rule,
Right.
for freedom of practicing
Life,
religion.
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And
right?
then
Yeah.
they get oppressed, being oppressed by the guy from afar. So their purpose grew. So they all, I mean, say, hey, give me this, or take my life, give me liberty or give me death, right? That's a famous quote. And to me, that's why I said, you always have a choice because of that particular saying. You
Right.
always have a choice, right? The choice is, because people say, hey, they make me do it, blah, blah, blah. So no, you have a choice. You always have a choice. At the end of the day, you have liberty or death, right? So that's a choice you can make. You can say, I won't do it. You're gonna have to, you know, take my life or whatever. But it's not something that I'm willing to accept. For example, if you take my freedom, I'm not gonna accept it, right? But will I get my freedom? Maybe, maybe not, depending on how powerful your opposing purpose will be. In the instance of the British, they didn't have as much purpose. But if I think they have as much purpose, then America wouldn't exist today. Same thing with the Nazi and the Germans and the World War II. Um, the ally has a purpose, the Nazi has a purpose. It's just that they are neck and neck. That's why the war lasts for so long. And then it's just a matter of who makes the mistakes and who has the upper hand in that end of the war. Because if you're looking at all the things, decisions that's been made, Germany could have won.
Sure.
I mean, right? Because they have a strong purpose as anyone else. So, but it's just to me, it's a series of decisions and mistakes that was made, and it allows one side to win versus another. Because to me, as far as World War II is concerned, it's a toss up.
So I got a couple things here. I think purpose gives you a power boost. Like if it was like a video game gives you a power boost, doesn't mean though you're gonna necessarily win versus a not purpose or not as important purpose. When you look at, let's say, Native Americans, they had a purpose. Our purpose we thought was see to manifest destiny. Now was that right? And what we did to them, was that right? Was our did we both have a purpose in that? I mean, maybe. I think theirs was more a better purpose, probably, than they were fighting the, I guess Americans at that point. But they lost that war and they still have a purpose. And they still, you asked that question about what happens when two people have a purpose. And, one kind of like, I guess that would be like an example, I think, how things played out with, I think, Native Americans of kind of what happened. I mean, they still have a purpose. They were damaged, but I think probably in their hearts, their purpose is still there. I don't know what the real, I mean, that's just kind of an example of maybe how something like that played out. I feel like I think our purpose maybe in that what we did to them was not right. I don't, purpose doesn't always, the better purpose doesn't always win.
Oh, I agree.
I do think though it does give you a boost. You will have more of a chance than if you didn't have a purpose in a battle or a war.
So you imagine having a purpose and be like water, right? It means that you have power, but you're using power using leverages. The leverages multiplies that power. So at the end of the day, you have more. So you have to because I think purpose is power, and power is something that you can utilize. It's like a tool you can utilize for your own achievement of whatever mission that you want.
When you say power, you mean like an internal power, like a
drive.
It's an unstoppable force within you. That.
Well, I don't know about unstoppable.
No, it is. I mean, like the only way to stop it is to literally, like you can't kill an idea. Like, I mean, when people believe in an idea, like, and the purpose behind that idea, you can't kill it. Like, you cannot kill the idea of freedom. Like, I mean, whether or not I'm here or not, like somebody will will pick up that
Well, you
mantle
can,
if they believe
you
in it.
can,
It might be silent, but it's still there.
you can, but the thing is, you look at other country, like, in Asia, in, the Middle East, especially in Asia, they actually kill freedom.
But is it still there? Is it still there though here for those
No,
people?
no,
You don't think so? Okay, I don't
no,
know.
they don't because they are brainwashed. They don't understand. They believe in things that, to you, it's like, what the hell are you, how are you thinking? It's like, it doesn't make sense at all, but that's what they believe. They believe it's what's given purpose, but they believe in the wrong thing. When you have, I guess, another perspective, because most people in, like, for example, Germany, right? All the soldiers in Germany, like 98% of them believe in it, believe in, white supremacy and killing all these Jews. And for whatever reason, maybe the Jews are smarter, but that's not what they believed. They believe that the Jews are tainted. So in Asia,
brainwashing.
yeah, brainwashing. Because like, for example, in Vietnam, even Vietnam and China right now, they control, like, they can control Google. They control what articles are published, what articles are not published. So they control every single aspect of information going through, to the audience or to the citizens. That means that if they want for you to believe that, US is bad, US is whatever, they just going to put articles, even write their own articles to tell you about incidences that never happened. They just made up.
Do you think that's happening here in the United States? I don't want to get down a conspiracy hole. Do you think that's happening here in the United States?
Yes, but the thing is, it's not in a very,
It's not controlled, but it's not
blatant way. It's very subtle in terms of, okay, for example, you look at Elon and Twitter, right? Twitter, Facebook, even Google and all these companies, they have been somewhat influenced to play the part. The reason why the Twitter erupted when Elon bought it, because when you have some source that is similar to the Facebook and the other sites and news and whatever, what happened if you said, this candidate, this presidential candidate is good, but then Twitter said, no, it's not. So the thing is, it creates these imbalance. This not a confirmation, then people going to question. And that's the reason why Twitter with Elon is going to erupt, and it's going to change the way the political system is going to work, and the way that people have been kind of like under this trance of the media. And so that creates that breakaway, right? And so from the perspective of the United States, there is things that you can kind of things that you can rely on, other sources that will actually kind of give you some insight and some clue onto what may be really going on. In other country, not possible, because the government controls everything. In China, they control everything from it even controls the way that you use your phone, right? Everything goes through the same system, and the government owns it, or behindly controls the company that actually being allowed to use these devices and hardware and software and internet sites and whatnot.
I know someone, I heard they knew someone, or I know someone who knew someone who was in, I don't know if it was China or where it was, but anyways, they were told you're not supposed to search certain things on your phone, and they did. And they actually, they had people come to their hotel, and they like had to be taken basically to like almost jail and like be questioned for like quite a while. It turned into a big problem.
It happens all the time. I mean, that's the thing is, in the modern world, the country over there are actually being worst, because people know before you can run, you can hide, I mean, it's harder.
It's not sustainable to you can't stop the spread of an idea. Like, I mean, it's not sustainable. They can try, but it's not sustainable. I mean, this is what I was saying with the whole, like, you can't kill an idea that if somebody believes in an idea, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. No,
you kill the person.
No, you can't. So here's why I'm saying that. You can maybe try to do that. Like this is what they tried to do in the Soviet Union or whatever. This is what they tried to do. This is, talk about two purposes competing against each other. The Cold War, right? I mean, like that was.
I mean, you're talking
a
about
massive
you're talking about the idea of Russia and Ukraine. This is 2022, Chris. Russia is still invading Ukraine.
I didn't say that it can't. I didn't say that people aren't going to try to kill an idea. I'm saying you can't kill an idea.
How about you? It is possible, but you cannot guarantee it.
It is not possible to kill an idea. If it lives in somebody's head, it lives. Like
well, as long as that person is alive. So unless you kill those people who have that idea,
and they do.
You can't kill everybody. This is my point. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable to fight. Like,
why not? That's what other country does. If you have it,
unlikely,
and they won't be here in 300 years or 100 years or 50 years. Like,
I mean, even in America, you're talking about people like Ansel Key and all these people who've been bought by like Harvard professor that have been bought by China's communists to do this and that and the other. I mean, and they are the one, even for the pharmaceuticals, right? They are the one that pushing the agenda. That's why you have like the sugar associations, the farmers associations, and all these whatever tobacco associations. Why are you allowing tobacco people to smoke, right?
And to me, you guys are saying the same thing. I feel like
I agree.
I don't believe that it will ever happen. True, you're saying it is possible. You're saying I don't believe you could kill. You're going to kill everyone. True, saying you could.
It's like spraying Roundup in my yard every year. It's a fool's errand. I think I can control the weeds. They grow back all the time. I mean, it never stops.
You could kill all the weeds. You could,
but it'll grow back.
Right.
It will always grow back. Like, I mean, you cannot stop it. Like that. Like, if anything, like you should probably create a sustainable garden out there. True, you're a gardener. Create a sustainable garden. Like, it's like.
So what happened if I take the whole backyard and I put concrete over it?
It'll grow back. Like, maybe not in your lifetime. In 100,000 in thousands of years, it will.
Or keep doing it. Because the thing is, it's always this yin and yang. Okay, you go back, you kill it. You go back, you kill it.
We're talking in circles.
Well, but it is. I don't disagree with what you're saying. The idea that people will try to kill it. Like, I'm saying that you can't. Like, that's not how life works. When there's an idea when there's a purpose and an idea that people care about and that it matters, it will always come back. Like, it will always be there. It will always live as long as somebody believes it. And
but that's the thing is, for me, it's like the saying is, never say never. It's the same thing. Like, you say, well, you can't. Well, mostly you can't, but doesn't mean that absolutely you can't.
You guys both have valid points. I think this is an agree to disagree moment.
I don't know that we're disagreeing at all. I think that I do agree with you, Blake. I think we're saying the same thing. I'm not disagreeing with what True is saying at all. I 100% acknowledge that there are people out there, but like, this is the point of the reflection is purpose will always prevail. It's like a weed, right? Like it'll always.
But that's the thing is, I disagree with the always. I think I agree with the purpose having the power boost, but at the same time, it's not always like I said, the saying, you never say never, right? So saying always is kind of, I don't know, because I maybe become a little bit more.
That's fair.
Purpose never dies. Purpose, maybe it doesn't always prevail, but you might kill it once, but it might come back and try again.
It'll always come back.
So what happened if you destroy the earth? Will it come back?
Game over.
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I mean, how are we supposed to know? Like, it may grow back. I don't know.
And my point is that I can't prove anything. I can only disprove it. I mean, I'm saying here, there are maybe in a certain way it could. So I don't want to accept the word always or the word forever or the word,
goes back to we don't really know anything.
Exactly.
Now we agree.
Right. Now, but what I do know is the if there's anything that I do know, it's the power that purpose can drive a human being's behavior.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that's probably the only thing that I do know is, like, if you truly believe something deep in your soul, like in your core, in the it'll drive your behavior no matter what. Like, and if more people believe in that, truly believe in that, and you're going against somebody, it's not even a battle if you're going against somebody that doesn't give a shit at all. That's why, like, we probably lost the Vietnam War, or something along those lines, because we didn't care. Like, there was no purpose for us being there. I think we all knew that. Like, you're True, you this better than I would know. Like, I mean, because you
guys lost because you didn't want to do it anymore, and you say, hey,
Right.
I don't, it's not worth it. So it's not like the North Vietnamese are strong or anything like that. It's just like, you have the US backing the South Vietnamese, and you have the Russians and the China arming the North Vietnamese just because, and then you're not fighting the Vietnam War. In the grand scheme of things, you are fighting the Red Scare. It's the communists that you're fighting, and you get tired of it, and because of Nixon, right? Nixon said, well, it's not worth it. And then after that, Lyndon B. Johnson said, well, because of Nixon, I want to do something different. Then I'm gonna just withdraw the troops. And that's how it is. It's like, hey, I don't want to prolong this anymore because the American public doesn't support. And if I want to be in office, I need to do whatever they want. And it's a propaganda. It's the I mean, US has a purpose. The purpose, so I don't want to be in Vietnam.
Right.
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 And then to me, the Vietnamese, North Vietnamese have a purpose too, but at the same time, the purpose of the American public is kind of aligning with the purpose of the Vietnamese. So regardless of how strong the North Vietnamese are, they would win regardless, because North Vietnamese will want to surrender multiple times. It's just that US just decide, hey, yeah, I don't want to be in this conflict anymore, and so they withdrew, and then by default you win. It's like, hey, you play a tennis match, and then you say, hey, I withdraw from the match. So whoever is there, your opponent, by default, they're gonna win.
Agreed. Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting topic to think about. I don't know about you guys, but at least it piques my curiosity for sure, and it makes me start to look into things at a different perspective, with a different lens, a different paradigm as you start to evaluate conflicts, out there in the world. Like,
about too with the conflicts. One, you always got to remember, history is always written by victors. They can spin it and turn it in a way. Like, we really don't know what happened. Like, a lot of things that happen, and behind the
scenes. I can tell you for sure, basically knowing both history, or that I was told that the history do not are not consistent. They're not consistent from one country to the next country, because in Vietnam it's different, in United States it's different.
Perspective, you think, or is that
no, it's just wrong facts are completely wrong.
Well, so is there a lie behind it?
A lot of lies.
Okay.
A lot of lies. It's a lot of lies, and I know for a fact, a lot of the facts that they put out are wrong, because I have seen the evidence, and I tend to believe the American history more. And then the Vietnamese is like they're not very good at being subtle. They very blatantly lie, and I see that. And I see evidence now that I, live here a long time, and I work for companies that, and even, the government contractors that have evidence that I know that it's not what is written. So both histories are completely inconsistent with one another. So
that's the difference.
That tells you that if this is inconsistent, what else is inconsistent?
So that's the difference between, in my opinion, narratives, which are human driven, and purpose, which is, I don't know where it comes from, but it's different driven. It's not driven.
It's still human driven.
I don't know. I don't feel like purpose is driven. I don't know where it comes from, and I don't know.
Well, if you don't know where it's coming from, why do you reject that it's come from human?
I don't reject it as coming from human. I'm saying I'm
coming from a higher power of almost like again something, a higher being, a higher something.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
you look at
kind of.
Germany.
I mean,
Germany,
it is possible.
the purpose of wanting to be the supreme race came from Hitler.
Well, that's why they lost. Yeah, I mean,
we're talking about something different here.
doesn't come
We're
from-
talking about where this purpose came from. I mean, whether you lost because your purpose is weaker or whatever the case, you still have a purpose. That's why they believe in wiping out the inferior race to the, you know, quote unquote inferior race. It came from Hitler.
right.
So
Well,
the American, the purpose came from I think John Adam or whatever. They say, hey, you know, these people are oppressing us. We are running to this new world, and they coming at our
they didn't
heel.
choose it. This is an important part of this whole entire thing. They
they
didn't
used
choose the purpose that was given to them. The purpose came to them through pain and trauma and oppression and a lot of other things. That was a collective shared purpose.
I don't think so.
I don't think that.
I mean, I don't know what kind of pain the Germans is having before
the pain they had
hey,
was
you
they
know,
lost in World War I. Was the pain. Like, honestly, that was the pain. Like they were embarrassed. That was their pain. In World War I. I'm serious. I'm serious. I mean, like that was why Hitler like became like, I mean, he was motivated by the embarrassment of them losing World War I. I mean, like that was what he wrote about in his own books and shit like that, in his own writings and whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that's a single source, but like, huh?
Well, were they his books?
Well, I don't know. Anyway,
it's like you can question anything and believe anything.
Right. So
anyway,
we could go on and on about this stuff for days, but either way, I think let's put a bow on this one to say purpose is really powerful. Like, you know, and harnessing it. You know, I don't know that anybody can harness purpose. I think it just naturally, you know, when you believe in something, more people unite around it. Like we come here every single night to talk about values, and we talk about the importance of meaningful work and meaningful relationships and things like that. Like there's nothing. I'm not making you do this. You're not making me do this, Blake. Nobody's making you come to do this stuff. You come to do these things because you want to, because it matters, because
you convinced
something
me
you care about,
that it aligns with my purpose or purpose that I should have. And I said, well, that's a great idea. And so it came from somebody.
But it didn't come from me. I didn't invent that. Like, I mean, this was.
You did. You invented this. I
didn't. It was.
Yes, you did. You invented the year of magical learning. You're the one who wrote the reflection.
I know
that,
but that wasn't the origin of all this stuff. Like, you're not like that. That is the like that. This is the fine line. Is yes, humans take a purpose and they make it their own, right? But it is not. It did not come from me. It comes from something else that I can't describe. And
the thing is, I'm saying that without you, we wouldn't be here today in this episode.
But I don't think the idea of living your values wouldn't be here though.
We'll be here, but we'll not be here in terms of talking to you and Blake, because you were the one who wanted to start writing the reflections, and then you the one who suggests we should talk about it, and then you the one who suggests we should put on a podcast, right?
I agree.
So it's your idea in some level, in some capacity. So
yes, it's like we talk about with God, right? You know, the rock pile. You know, it's, you know, you should have seen this idea when God left it to us. You know, the rock pile when you know it was just a rock pile, right? Like, yeah, you got to turn it into a garden, right? You got to do your work to bring this idea to life and to help to grow and nurture it and to. That's what we're doing, right? You know, but
right.
Day,
so
like,
so
the
you
idea
agree with me? It came partly from some person.
So to put a bow on,
without like you talking about living to God, right? This is a pile of rock. It's there, but somebody has to turn it into the garden.
Agreed. And we're trying to turn it into a garden. So Blake, did you have a final thought? Yeah.
I said to put a bow on it.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Well, yeah.
Okay.
We'll
if you want a power boost, get a purpose. How about that?
Well, I don't think you. That's a whole other
Always
topic.
have a
I don't think you get. Yeah. I don't think you get a purpose. I don't think you can go find a purpose. I think you I think the purpose finds you. But that's another topic for another day.
Let's not go down this rabbit hole again.
Right. So the question we can leave with anybody tuning in today, clearly purpose is a controversial topic, so
Clearly there's some passion behind it.
for sure.
Well,
So
hence purpose.
so the question we can leave with anybody listening still at this point in time is your battle that you're fighting one of purpose or just something you do? Because if it's just something you do, then I think we can all agree that's not going to win. So keep fighting until you get that purpose, whether it comes to you, whether you find it, I don't care. But purpose is powerful. So appreciate everybody, conversation, tuning in, and we will see you all tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Bye.